At their daughter's graduation party, the husband unexpectedly announced a divorce after 28 years of marriage. But he had no idea that his wife, a calm and intelligent woman, had already crafted the perfect plan for revenge, turning his shocking move into a bitter defeat. "I decided to start a new life without you." Those words from Gregory hit me like a slap in the face, echoing through the upscale restaurant where we gathered to celebrate our daughter Amelia's college graduation. Gregory, my husband of 28 years, stood there with his champagne glass still raised, but instead of a congratulatory toast to our daughter, he declared that he would leave me. The clinking of silverware stopped. The conversation was interrupted and all eyes turned to us. They were waiting for a dramatic reaction from me. Tears, screams, a breakdown. But I was not what they expected. Instead of crying, I just smiled. "Congratulations on your honesty," I replied, calm and composed. "My name is Bianca Caldwell. I'm 54 years old, and until now, I had been a dedicated wife and mother. For the past 28 years, I had put aside my personal dreams to support Gregory. I helped him through 3 failed business ventures, career changes, and was always the one who maintained stability for our family. I raised Amelia, our smart daughter, who sat beside me with her graduation cap on, but had a fearful expression. I could see Cassandra Wells, Gregory's young girlfriend, sitting behind and looking uncomfortable. She used to join our Christmas parties and would call me for career advice. The friends sitting around us seemed to know about the affair between Gregory and Cassandra, but no one told me. The friends I had trusted all these years. I sighed, not letting emotions take control, and calmly reached into my purse to pull out a cream-colored envelope, gently placing it on Gregory's table. "What's this?" Gregory asked, his smug expression slowly turning to hesitation. "Something for you to read later," I replied, keeping my voice steady. I turned to Amelia, kissed her cheek, and softly said, "I'm so proud of you, honey. Today is about your achievement." Then I stood up, adjusted my dress, and walked away, greeting the stunned guests. "Please enjoy your meal. Have a nice afternoon." With those words, I walked out of the restaurant holding my head high, feeling the 50 pairs of eyes still on me. The restaurant door slammed behind me, cutting off the worried whispers. Outside, the summer heat of Augusta hit me like a wall, but I didn't mind. For the first time in years, I could breathe easily. Behind me, I heard the restaurant door open and close again, followed by Gregory's voice, no longer confident, but now panicked. "Bianca, what the hell is this? What did you do?" But I didn't look back. I smiled softly. The envelope I gave him wasn't just a gift or a message, but the start of a plan I had been meticulously preparing for months. I had always been the practical one in our marriage. While Gregory dreamt and took risks, I was the one who maintained stability for the family. I was the one who saved for Amelia's education, while Gregory spent money on his friends' restaurant projects. I worked overtime at Truvanta to ensure we had a stable life, while Gregory quit his steady job to pursue his passion for selling handmade furniture, a passion that lasted only 6 months before he gave it up. My dream of starting a financial consulting firm for women had been put on hold. I always told myself that after Amelia graduated, I could pursue that dream, as long as Gregory found stability in his job. But everything changed when I noticed irregularities in our joint account. 3 months ago, I noticed small transfers to a strange account I didn't recognize. Small amounts of money, but to me, they were a sign of a bigger problem. I didn't confront Gregory immediately. Instead, I began to investigate. What I found made me more determined. Gregory had been transferring money to his own account for over a year and had been shopping, traveling, and buying Cassandra expensive gifts. all while telling me we needed to save for retirement. I found text messages between them, talking about their new life together. One of them, about planning to leave me on Amelia's graduation day, was a clear sign of betrayal. But what Gregory didn't know was that I was a financial expert, and I understood the trail of money. I had been tracking our assets for 28 years, and I also remembered the prenuptial agreement we signed, which he insisted on to protect his wealth. That agreement had a clause about honesty and fidelity in marriage, and it would be the thing that destroyed Gregory. I had known about everything for a while, and now I was preparing for divorce. I consulted lawyers, gathered evidence, and prepared the divorce papers. I had calculated everything carefully, knowing Gregory would want to wait until after Amelia's graduation to make his dramatic exit. But he didn't expect that I would have the divorce papers ready on that very morning. The divorce papers had already been filed with the court, and Gregory had no idea. I didn't go back to the restaurant. Instead, I drove home to the house we had built together over the past 15 years. The house Gregory had promised to Cassandra, according to the text messages I had read. When I parked and walked into the house, everything was the same as before. The family photos, my father's grandfather clock, and the sofa Gregory and I had once dreamed about spending a future together on. But now it all felt different. When I went to the bedroom, I opened the closet and saw that Gregory's clothes had been packed into a suitcase, ready for his departure. Text messages from friends, from Amelia, and even from Gregory's sister kept coming in, but I only replied to my daughter, "I'm fine. Don't worry. We'll talk later." When I looked at the suitcase that had been packed, I didn't feel angry or sad. I just felt a strange calmness. This was the liberation I had been waiting for all these years. Part of me had known that Gregory was no longer the husband I could trust. He had changed, or rather, I had changed. I was no longer the young girl who easily forgave everything. My outlook on life was now clearer than ever. I sat down on the large bed, where we used to lie together, talking about dreams and future plans. But now, all of that had become the past. I felt like I was standing at a major crossroads in my life, where everything was ready to begin again from scratch. Suddenly my phone rang. A text message from an old friend, someone I hadn't been in contact with for a long time. "Bianca, I heard about what happened. Are you okay? Do you need anything?" After reading the message, I suddenly realized that despite all the years of hardship, I still had true friends, people I could rely on when everything crumbled. I replied, "Thank you. I'm fine, really. Everything has finally come to light." I didn't know who I was talking to, but I felt a sense of relief spreading through my heart. Life always has surprises, and I realized that I didn't have to face it alone. As I returned to my work, I found a new passion. I started taking courses on personal finance, learning how to help women become financially independent. This was something I had always longed to do, but never had the time or opportunity to pursue. Now, I was no longer a devoted wife standing behind my husband, but a strong woman, making decisions about my own life. My life changed day by day, but the one thing I could be sure of was that I would never go back to the old path. I had stood up, taken back control of my life, and that was the most important thing. A week later, I officially filed for divorce. Gregory couldn't believe it. He kept calling me, asking why I was doing this, even begging me to change my decision. But I knew it was all just words. I was too tired of empty promises and lies. This time I wouldn't turn back. After the divorce papers were accepted, I began a completely new phase in my life. Although I had to face some initial financial difficulties, I was no longer afraid. I had built a solid foundation for myself, and I knew I would continue to move forward. Amelia, my daughter, was also beginning to understand that life isn't always easy. But what matters is that we can stand up and start over. I started writing a blog sharing stories about starting over after divorce, about how to face change and rediscover oneself. My posts began to attract attention from many other women, those who were going through the same challenges I had faced. They found comfort and motivation in my words, and in every email I received, I became more certain that I was on the right path. Life may throw harsh challenges our way, but I learned an important lesson. Every challenge brings with it an opportunity for change and growth. And I now am no longer the Bianca of the past, the woman who always endured, always waited for someone else to change. I am a strong woman, ready to face whatever life throws at me. Looking back, I realized that determination and belief in myself were the things that helped me overcome every obstacle. Though no one can predict the future, I believe that with everything I have learned, I will build a new life, one that I can be proud of. My story isn't just about divorce, it's about rediscovering myself. With each passing day, I feel freer and stronger than ever. And I know that no matter what happens next, I will always stand strong. Life after deciding to leave everything behind is not an easy journey. Every morning when I wake up, I feel like I have to start from scratch. But it's not a failure. It's a new beginning. It feels like a bird set free, no longer bound by the past. In the early days, I couldn't help but feel lonely. Even though I had friends and family around, there were moments when I still felt lost in a vast world. Yet, it was in those quiet moments that I truly understood the value of peace within my soul. I no longer had to live for anyone else. I only needed to live for myself. One day, I received a message from Amelia, my daughter. She asked, "Mom, where will we go on our upcoming trip?" I looked at the screen and smiled gently. It wasn't a specific place, but I knew that we were heading toward a new life. A life without fear, without constraints. It was a journey that I would explore with my daughter, step by step. I began to seek out things I never had the time to explore before. For the first time in years, I spent time on myself. I took online courses, learning about topics I never thought I'd be interested in, such as leadership, communication skills, and mental health. Every piece of knowledge I gained was like a precious gem, making me feel more and more complete. I also started writing about my journey of starting over. My posts weren't just advice, but true reflections of what I had been through. With each post, it was as though I was healing the wounds in my soul. And the miracle was, those shares not only helped me regain my strength, but they also became a source of encouragement for others. One day I received an email from a woman named Laura, who had read my writings. She wrote, "Bianca, you changed my life. I was living a life where I couldn't be happy, but after reading your story, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and rediscover myself. Thank you so much." Reading those words, I felt like I had completed part of my mission. All the sacrifices, all the breakdowns, now made sense. And so, I continued this journey, not knowing what would come next. But I understood that life is a series of choices. We can choose to rise after every fall, or we can choose to give up. I chose to rise, and that was the greatest change I ever made. No matter how the world outside changes, no matter how many challenges I face, I know one thing for certain: I will never go back. My outlook on life has completely changed. From a weak and fearful woman, I am now a strong, decisive, and confident person in my abilities. Looking at Amelia, I know I did the right thing. She no longer sees her mother as weak and sad. She now sees a strong mother, always striving, and ready to fight for a better life. And I hope that one day Amelia will understand that life isn't always fair. But the important thing is that we always have the power to choose how we respond to it. I have found peace within myself, and I know that no matter what storms may come, I will always stand strong, because I have regained my strength from within, from the very choices I made. When I look back on the days that have passed, I realize that each challenge, each pain was a big step in my journey of growth. Not everything has been easy, but I understand that difficulties are valuable lessons. What I learned from those hard days was the ability to be patient, to have courage, and to trust in myself. One morning, while sitting and looking out the window, I suddenly realized something interesting. I no longer felt afraid of the future. In the past, whenever I thought about what could happen, I would always feel anxious, afraid of things I couldn't control. But now, I understand that the future is not something to fear. It is just an opportunity, an open space that we can create for ourselves. And so, life continues, with new lessons, new challenges. But this time, I no longer feel weak or defeated. Instead, I feel stronger than ever. Every day, I try not only to set an example for my daughter, but also to become the best version of myself. During that time, I also began to explore a new hobby that I had never thought about before: journaling. The words in my journal were not just a place where I recorded my thoughts, but also a space where I faced myself. Every time I write, I feel as though I am opening a peaceful space to reconnect with myself. I no longer have to race against time or worry about things I can't control. I just need to live in the present moment and allow myself to feel everything with an open heart. With Amelia, I feel closer than ever. She is no longer the innocent child I once saw in my eyes. Now, she has grown up and understands many things in life. Every time we sit together, I always try to share with her what I have learned. I want my daughter to understand that life is not always rosy, but if we know how to stand firm and face challenges, there will always be light at the end of the road. One afternoon when we were walking in the park, Amelia suddenly said, "Mom, I think I will always be as strong as you." Those words made my heart tighten. It was not just a compliment, but a recognition from her of what I had been through. Although I am not perfect, I know that I have passed on to her a spiritual strength, a resilience that cannot be measured in words. My story is not a story about perfection. It is a story about rising up, about finding strength in the weakest moments. It is a story about choice. Choice is not about living a life without storms, but about standing up after every fall and continuing to move forward. And for me, every step I take is a victory, whether it is small or great. I am no longer the fearful woman, but a strong mother, a woman full of determination and resolve. And if anyone asks me what the secret to success is, I will answer that it is perseverance, belief in oneself, and never giving up. I remember once, after a long and tiring day at work, I sat down by the small table in the corner of the room and looked out the window. The last rays of the afternoon sun shone through the gap in the door, the soft golden light like a warm hug. I thought about what I had gone through, about the challenges that had made me stronger. In that moment, I suddenly realized that life is not always something we can control. We can't always be prepared for everything that happens, but it is in these moments of unpreparedness that we truly learn the biggest lessons. Sometimes, it is in the hardest and most unexpected moments that we discover strengths we didn't even know we had. Surely there will be times when we feel stuck or lost, and these moments are unavoidable. But I have learned not to let them break me. Instead, I have learned to turn these difficulties into motivation to rise up. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be myself and keep going. And then, I began to see small but noticeable changes in my life. Things I thought I couldn't do before, I now do confidently. just like how I've learned to love myself more. I am no longer just a mother or a wife, but also a woman for myself. One evening after Amelia had fallen asleep, I sat alone with myself and wrote in my journal, "Today, I feel stronger than ever. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know that I won't give up. I will continue moving forward step by step." With each passing day, I realized that growing up is not a destination, but a long journey. And on this journey, I will never stop learning, never stop loving, and never stop growing. I believe that as long as I am persistent and don't give up, no matter how tough the challenges, I will overcome them. There is a quote I really like. "There are no easy paths, but if you never give up, you will eventually achieve what you desire." And I think that's the strength that keeps us going in this life. I know that there will be times when life challenges me, but I also know that I will always stand strong. After every fall, I can rise again, stronger, and keep moving forward. And one day when I look back, I will be proud that I never gave up. In the end, after all the challenges and difficult moments, I realized one important thing. Life doesn't always have to follow a clear plan. Sometimes the detours are the very paths that lead us to wonderful things we never expected. It is in those moments that seem like failure that we discover the most valuable lessons, and more importantly, we find ourselves. When I look back at the journey I've been on, I realize that every day is a gift, whether it's made of wonderful moments or harsh challenges. Challenges aren't just things that make us suffer. They are also opportunities to build resilience, patience, and the ability to rise again after every fall. I've learned to love myself, not because I am perfect, but because I am me, with all my flaws and the strength that no one can see unless I recognize it myself. Now, I understand that we don't always need to have all the answers. Sometimes, the most important thing is to keep moving forward, no matter how bumpy the road may be. Today's struggles will become tomorrow's strength. I no longer fear the things I cannot control. I have learned to walk, even though I don't know where I'm going, always trusting that one day I will reach my destination, because I am not alone on this journey. And to you, the one reading these words, I want to leave you with a message. Life may not be easy, but you absolutely have the strength within you. Don't let challenges make you give up. Let them be the stepping stones for you to rise. Never forget that you have a powerful ability to overcome anything. No matter what life brings, always remember that the greatest strength lies within you. You are the only one who can decide who you will become, where you will go, and how you will live. I believe that as long as you persevere, as long as you trust yourself, no matter what, you will find the right path. And when you look back, you will be proud of what you've overcome. Life will not be easy, but it will always be worth it. Live fully, don't fear failure, and always remember that you are the one writing the story of your life.